Libraries aren't just places for books. They can be the hub of a small community, and they can be a refuge for people who feel relaxed and safe there.
I've seen kids sneak here on the bus when they don't have a permission slip. I don't know how they do it, but they want to be here.
The director at the Old Forge Library, building community in a small Adirondack town, on today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Essex County Arts Council, promoting arts and culture through advocacy and grants to artists and organizations. More at essexcountyarts.org.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Friday, April 14th. First up, the results are in. Saranac Lake lost the title of Strongest Town USA to Brattleboro, Vermont. The contest was initially between 16 towns across America, with the public voting online. Saranac Lake beat out communities in Indiana, Illinois, and Washington to make it to the final round. In the end, Brattleboro won 50.5% of the votes, one of the closest results in the history of the contest. Strong Towns is a nonprofit organization that advocates for communities to be safe, livable, and inviting, according to its website. Later this year, it will produce a video promoting Brattleboro, Vermont. The Adirondack Park Agency is considering cutting back on public comments at its monthly meetings. And here's something meta about this. It wants public comments on that. You can weigh in now through next Friday on the proposed changes to the APA's public commenting policy. Our Adirondack reporter Emily Russell has the details.
The Adirondack Park Agency meets in person almost every month. The meetings are also streamed online for the public. The APA reviews policies, votes on permits, and weighs in on other issues in the park. At the start and end of those meetings, there's time for public comment, both in person and virtually. Sometimes only a few people speak up. Other times, it's more.
My name is Luann Callisa. My name is Cameron Cohen.
Hi, everyone. Yes, my name is Deborah Dempsey.
I'm Regina Balzano.
That's just a partial lineup of folks who commented at the start of one of the AP's meetings last year. But now the agency may nix that opportunity. It's considering only accepting public comments at the end. Those meetings, though, are sometimes 4, 5, or even 6 hours long. Dave Gibson is from the environmental group Adirondack Wild. He's all for public comments and urged the board at their meeting back in March to keep that opportunity at the start of their meetings.
At the end of the day, frankly, we're all tired. You're tired. And comments are not as well remembered.
But not everyone at the APA thinks that's true.
I have to respectfully disagree with Mr. Gibson.
That's APA board member Art Lucy. Lucy said the board is receptive to comments at the end. Plus, he argued that the public comments in the beginning can sometimes derail the rest of the meeting.
But when you have a major project on the horizon, you end up having the ability to go into the, 20 presenters at 3 minutes. You totally disrupt the entire meeting schedule.
There really haven't been as many as 20 public commenters in recent years. APA policy also says that the public comment period at the start should be limited to just 20 minutes. One reason, though, for potentially getting rid of that public comment period at the start of each meeting is that folks aren't allowed to comment on a project on the agency's agenda for that day. It's kind of complicated, and APA board member Benita La Jiao wants the agency to be more transparent, more open to the public's input.
I'm really concerned about the public really understanding who we are and what we are about. And so when we don't allow them to have feedback, provide feedback on really important issues, or they feel like we're not listening because we've put them at the end, that sends a message to them.
A message that La Jiao is worried could further distance the APA from the public. Beyond comment periods at the start and end of meetings, the agency does accept written public comments, but you need to be able to navigate the APA's sometimes clunky website or be on their email listserv to know when those public comment periods are happening. APA board member Mark Hall, who's worked in government for 20 years, said there's always something they can learn from public comments.
I think we got some extremely intelligent people sitting around a table, but we don't think of everything. And I think that's where public comment can really help us make good, informed decisions moving forward.
So the APA is doing just that. It's accepting public comments on its public commenting policy. You can submit a comment from now until next Friday at apa.ny.gov. Emily Russell, North Country Public Radio.
The Old Forge Library is in a very small town, especially in the winter off-season. But it's a busy place with art classes, exhibits, recent renovations, community health programs, and reading programs for all ages. Todd Moe caught up with library director Linda Wheel.
My predecessor, Izzy Worthen, is like synonymous with the Old Forge Library. She had been here for 42 years when I joined almost 5 years ago. My anniversary will be in about a month, and I'll have been here for 5 years. And I came without a library background. I had previously been the curator at our fabulous art center here in Old Forge View, where I had run the exhibits. And I had moved back to town. I took a break after View, and I moved to Cleveland, where I was the security guard at the Cleveland Museum of Art, writing haiku in my little, I would hide little pieces of paper that I found or whatever in my name badge holder and try to write little poems because I fell in with a group of poets there. And that was really fun. But I moved back to town. My family and I bought an art gallery here in Old Forge, which we still own and operate. I heard Izzy was retiring, and I remember I was volunteering next door at the thrift store in the church, and one of their board members said, Izzy is retiring. And I said out loud, I remember saying, oh, I think I'm supposed to do that. Now, that had never crossed my mind until I said it. And I remember the interviews and being really nervous. And I remember one of the trustees asking me, like, you have no background in libraries. And I remember saying pretty stupidly and off the top of my head, well, I never did anything I did before I did it, you know? Like, I never owned a business before I owned one, and I think I'll get it. Like, I really just had a lot of faith. I have a good working knowledge of the community, and I think the art scene and nonprofit arts, we have a lot of exhibits here at the library. I didn't even talk about that. You know, right now we've got hundreds of pieces up from locals and regional folks, a lot of kids for the poetry and art contest, which is an annual favorite, right? But we do have a lot of fine art exhibits, and we host a lot of great art receptions, too. But just that, the library is a place where things can happen, and if there needs to be a friendly space for a hard discussion, we can provide that. You know, we do a Meet the Candidates kind of event on voter registration day. We register voters, and we feed everybody, and we give people running for office an opportunity to just kind of hang out and eat without any formal questions or without, you know, to be neighbors. And I think that's maybe my strength, is appreciating community, appreciating civic involvement. You know, one of the things that worries everybody is that our population of young people is decreasing. It decreases all the time. You know, right now our average age resident is 68. I guarantee next year the average age will be 69, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like we're filling in at the bottom. But this year, when you look at 2022's circulation statistics, one area we really grew in was the use of kids' books. More kids' books went out. We don't have more kids here, but more kids checked out books here than the year before. And, you know, I hope it comes off as interested and big-hearted. You know, that's what we're going for, welcoming.
Linda Wheel is director of the Old Forge Library. We want to hear about your favorite library. What's your favorite memory that has to do with the library? You can email us news@ncpr.org or join our texting club. Send the word library to 315-978-6277. We have more news throughout the weekend at ncpr.org. Music today by Caitlin Scholl of Lake Placid and Danny Thomas of Canton. I'm David Sommerstein, North Country Public Radio.